You are listening to The Reference Desk, the Wicomico Libraries podcast that connects you to your public library.
Welcome back to the Reference Desk podcast by Wicomico County Libraries. This is our podcast that connects you with your local library. Today I am Vicky.
And I'm Amy, though she's always Vicky, not just today.
Last month we started our series, a two-part series called Get Library Savvy. This is part 2, and this one will be all about our digital resources, online resources offered by the Wicomico County Libraries. So during the initial shutdown of the COVID pandemic, our library closed its door to the public for 5 months. Even the employees worked remotely during the first 3 months of that. During that time, the lack of access to physical materials was very noticeable. Luckily, I was able to access the online digital library from home and check out books, movies, TV shows, and more. Now, hopefully, we won't be facing that situation again anytime soon. But sometimes when you have weather conditions, like snow or flooding, that makes it hard or almost impossible to get to the library. And when you're stuck at home, there's nothing like a good book or movie to keep us entertained. Enter the digital library. With your library card number, you can access any of the resources that the library has for you. We can't possibly cover all of them in this podcast, because there's a lot of them, but we'll try to get to as many as we can. The first online resource that we're going to talk about has got to be Libby. This is our most popular one. The online consortium, formerly known as Overdrive. If you're on a tablet or a mobile device, you should be able to download the Libby app. It's Libby, and all of these are going to be linked in the description as well, from either the Apple Store, if you have an Apple device, or the Play Store, if you're on Android. If you're using a desktop or a laptop computer, you can use the web browser to visit maryland.overdrive.com. You could also just type in Overdrive in Google, and that'll get you there. The app or web page will prompt you when you first sign in to choose your county and then enter your library card number. This is going to be found as a 16-digit number on the underneath the barcode on the back of your library card. So you'll need that physical card with you, or you'll have to find a librarian, bring your photo ID, just like we discussed last time. Bring your photo ID and ask a librarian to get you your library card number or a new library card. When you log in, you'll land on a landing page of sorts, and on the app it's going to look different than on the web page. On the app you'll see a tile style, so like a lot of different like book covers that'll have featured items. If it's, African American History Month, if it's Asian Pacific Islander Month, Women's History Month, whatever, they will have like a curated collection of themed books for that time frame, which is kind of fun. You can also go into the search menu, which is the little magnifying glass at the top corner, and you can look it up by subject, by author, by title if you know what you're looking. Keep in mind that the Libby app also functions a little bit like a traditional library in the sense that the library consortium only has the rights to a certain amount of titles. So if we only have 5 titles of the latest John Grisham book, if 5 people have it checked out, you have to wait till one of them gets returned so you can check that title out yourself. So there can be some wait times, especially on super popular books. Sometimes you get lucky and they get returned pretty quick, but usually it's they actually will give you an estimate that's fairly close to how long you're going to wait. If you want immediate gratification, you can sort the titles to show only available titles. So these are books that have a copy or more available. You can use the filters drop-down box that's located on top of the list of the books that are on the screen. And when you click on that drop-down arrow, you'll see all the different filters that you have applied, if any, and then additional filters that you can apply. Under availability, you'll see, second down the list, I think, the option to show available now titles. If you click or tap on this, all you'll see are the ones that you can get right this minute.
That's what I like to do. I'm pretty impatient person, and there's so much that I want to read, so it's really great if you want to start a new series because the older titles will be available now. You can check out some books from an author you've been meaning to check out. It's slightly older copies, but I tend to want to read a new book in the middle of the night, so no library is open, so I'm in my pajamas. I get to pull out my Kindle or my tablet, and then I get to check out something right away, and there I'm off. I'm right to reading. Mm-hmm. So that's really convenient because it has audiobooks and ebooks, some really good quality ones, because we help select them. They are chosen titles. So you can always find a good book, even if you do have to wait for the newest release.
Something to fill the time while you wait.
Right? And there's always a book that I need to read.
Oh, yeah.
So there's never a problem there. And there is a loan limit of 8 titles at a time. So if you have checked out 8 titles, you will need to return one before checking out and borrowing a new one. And if you finish them early and they're still just kind of hanging in your app or your catalog, just go ahead and return early, and then that will free it up so somebody else can check it out, and then you can check out a new title.
And there's no limit on how many in a month that you can check out from Libby. So if you check out 8 at a time and you read them in 2 days because
you have some downtime
you
are binging through a series.
Right, like say you just had surgery and you're stuck in bed for a couple of weeks. You're going to be reading a lot because you got to get out of the bed somehow and you can't get out physically. So yeah, you can just check out as many as you want as long as the titles are there, and it's a really cool resource for...
As long as you read them, return them, and then check them out.
Well, yes, and the great thing is there's no overdue fees because those books will return automatically.
Yes, the digital library.
Right.
That's like the main benefit. You never have to worry about that.
And when you see that, like, we'll return in 4 hours, you're like, oh crap.
Time to read it.
Time to read it. Yeah, no, I've been there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like 50 pages from the end. It's like, you have 22 hours. I'm like, ugh.
Well, you know what you're doing tonight.
I know what I'm doing tonight. Yeah, that's absolutely. There's also a great option if you have a Kindle, like an e-reader, a Kindle Fire, or what have you. You can actually send the title from Libby to your Kindle device, your Kindle account, because you can even use it on the Kindle online if you wanted to.
On your phone.
From your phone, yeah. This way you can read or listen to the story without draining your phone battery, which can be nice because Kindles tend to take up a lot less battery because that's what they're designed to do, is to read books.
Yeah, I find the screen is easier to read when my eyes are tired than looking at a phone screen or a computer screen.
And to be fair, if you sync it to your Kindle, you send the file to your Kindle, if you're ever in a position where you have no Wi-Fi or no cell service, for example, when I was on a train to Texas and we were in the middle of nowhere in Arkansas, and our train was delayed by like 3 hours because there was some kind of trouble on the track. We were in 0 bars. Like, my phone was like, what? What am I supposed to do? So I couldn't even access I couldn't even pull up Libby. But I had it on my Kindle already synced over, so I just pulled my Kindle out and I read. There was not enough coffee in the world for that trip, by the way. Not at all. But yeah, so there's an advantage to that, is you can still read offline, or if you're out, camping and you have no Wi-Fi or signal, or you don't want to waste your battery in your phone pulling it out, you can always do that. So that's kind of cool. As always, if you have any questions about using Libby or any of our online services that we're going to talk about today, don't hesitate to call any of our locations during operating hours, of course, and we'll be happy to either walk you through over the phone, if we can, or if we're struggling with that, you can always come into a location and we'll do our very best to help you. Another popular service that we offer here at the library is Hoopla Digital. This is a service that is accessible, again, with your library card, and all the titles that are listed are immediately available to check out. There's no waiting. Unlike Libby, all the titles are like pretty much the Netflix of the library. Everything is automatically streamed, so you can just check it out if it's there, which is really cool. The biggest difference that's between Hoopla and Libby is the availability of soundtracks and movies or TV shows. I think there's a couple of movies on Libby, but they're not really like popular movies, more like educational stuff for kids, which is great, but it's like 5 titles.
It's more of a full-rounded media, all in one.
This is going to have like your murder mysteries, it's going to have your dramas, it's going to have your movies.
They have lots of Acorn mysteries. I love Hoopla for that because I love a good British mystery.
Yeah. So they have movies and TV shows, unlike Libby. So if you want a more of a multimedia experience with the library, this is a really great path to go. I can't tell you how many times I checked out Hamilton when my oldest was obsessed when it came out. He was obsessed with Hamilton, and we all became obsessed with Hamilton.
It's a really great way to listen to new music and soundtracks.
Yeah. I was driving back from Ocean City the other day because my son had his birthday party, and one of his friends I gave him a ride. And I handed him the phone with Hoopla, pulled up and said, find something to listen to. And he picked out The Greatest Showman, and I was so happy because I could sing along to that one.
Mine's more Disney bed. Encanto.
Encanto's my jam as well. We've checked out that a couple times too. Actually, when we went to Disney World, I checked it out on Hoopla on the plane. And because you can download it to your device to listen offline, and you can just use that on a plane to have a soundtrack to listen to that maybe you didn't have already.
And they have a really good selection of soundtracks and music and movies too.
Mm-hmm. They have like a wide variety, and movies as well. Lots of kids stuff too. Keep in mind, unlike Libby, there is a limit to how many titles you're allowed to check out per month. It is 8. So, one 45-hour audiobook, it's 1 checkout. One 20-minute episode of Bubble Guppies is also 1 checkout. So, binge wisely. Try to schedule it to the end of the month so you have 8, and it rolls over on the 1st, so you'll have like 8 episodes on the 30th and then 8 episodes on the 1st, or however many days in the month there are that particular month. So one way around this, a little workaround that you can do is if your children have their own library cards, which we do highly encourage all young readers to have their own library card, make them account on Hoopla and let them check out their own Bubble Guppies, and they'll free up your 8 titles for whatever you want to listen to.
and watch and read.
And watch and read and all that, yeah.
Yes. I like the fact that we have both services available with your library card for free. Overdrive Libby is something that we curate here. We buy each copy just like a traditional library. So the selection has a lot of current popular authors, but Hoopla, they have their, just like Netflix, they kind of have their own little catalog, their own little selection that's always available. So we subscribe to the service, but we don't actually pick the titles. And I find that if I'm looking for something, I try Libby or Overdrive first, and if it's not there, I'll swipe, and then I'll check out the Hoopla app because it will most likely have that. So between the two, we have a really big selection. Hoopla has a lot of not just multimedia, they have a lot of nonfiction, so that's great there too. And Overdrive usually gets any author, Libby usually gets any author that that is popular that you've heard of. So it's really nice to have both to kind of be able to have a little bit of something for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really nice to have that variety because depending on what mood you're in, you might be in the mood for a comedy and you might not be in the mood for a murder mystery, or you could want murder or mayhem and you don't want to laugh. So that's our online digital resources for books, movies, and TV shows.
More the traditional, what you would get from a library.
So we're going to move on now to some of our less known digital services, and these are more research or informational things that we offer online for the library. Not a whole lot of these will contain books per se, but they will contain a lot of information, and some of it's really, really fun.
You can have knowledge and entertainment.
This is also true. So we also like to highlight, Mango. Mango is a language learning app that you can access through the databases and magazines menu on our website. Once you go through our website, it'll authenticate you with your library card, of course, and then you'll have free access to comprehensive language learning for many of the world's languages. For younger learners, we also have access to Muzzy, which uses immersion-style videos to teach language. And if you are my age, you might remember the old commercials for Muzzy. It's been around for a long time. It works. It's really great. I tell you, I enjoyed watching Muzzy with my kid. Because I felt like I learned better that way.
Yeah, even if you're an adult, you can still check out Muzzy. No one's going to judge you.
No one's going to know. The videos are just so silly. But you do learn words it's very much an immersion style, as opposed to Mango, which is more of that, like, quizzing, and they'll give you information with pictures, which is great, but, like, Muzzy is designed for the people who need to learn by immersion.
And you do practice. Like, they'll have where you record your voice. So it is a pretty good service to learn by.
Yeah. That would be, your best bet. So let's see, we've talked about language, and we've also gone and speaking about younger learners. Younger learners are some of the ones that you struggle to find appropriate information for. There's a lot of scary stuff out there on the internet, and you never know what they're going to find. So we have several databases just for kids. All of them are going to be found in the same section of the website, databases and magazines. It's in that drop-down menu for services. And then everything is listed alphabetically, if that helps, because I have to sit there and poke around myself still to figure out what page I'm on. If you're looking for interactive read-along experiences for emergent readers, so like, preschool, kindergarten, ones who are just learning their letters, I highly recommend BookFlix. This program that we've actually used at home, it allows you to choose between a whole range of stories. And the book that they have is kind of like a story time, and they read it in front of you. They open up this page, and it has the animated book page flips, and it's really cute. And they actually read along with you, and all the words are highlighted so they can see the word that's being said, and it helps them correlate that word with that sound. it does have reading comprehension questions, which is a great way to gauge if the child is actually like really grasping the concept of the story.
Yeah, I like the fact that they come in like theme packets. Like you have a fun fiction book. We did one with like the owl drives the bus or whatever.
The nonfiction and a fun one, yeah.
And then they have the nonfiction about car safety, and then the reading comprehension focuses on different safety things. And it's a really fun activity to sit down with little one.
Absolutely, because I mean you'll sit there and watch them read the story, and then you can help them if you need to, like, you know, prompt them to this is what they're asking, because they do read the questions to you, but sometimes they need a little help remembering what each answer is, and that's fine, because especially if it's for emerging readers, you want to just help as much as you can so they don't get frustrated. Moving on to the adults for now. If crafting, and even kids, if crafting is more of your jam, the library also subscribes to an online service called Creative Bug. This is a collection of video tutorials that will walk you step by step through craft projects, from yarn craft, which we're a fan of, to sewing, even beading and woodwork. I used this program when I was looking into how to sew a simple drawstring pouch for my littlest when we were going to the Renaissance Festival last summer, because kilts don't come with pockets, you know. And he needed a place to store all of his snacks, because snacks are important.
Yes.
Especially at the Ren Fest.
Yes.
So the video I found was very simple and concise. It was like 2 rectangles and a liner. That threw me for a loop. Actually, some of the liners sticking out of the pack, because I kind of messed up. The liners like sticking out of the seam on the outside. I'm like, it's fine. But I made it all by myself. I was so proud.
It really does focus on like the introduction. Like if you don't know where to start, this will help you get through and learn a whole new craft.
We used to have a database that was for crafting that was more of just pictures of magazines. It was a great place to find patterns. But Creative Bug is geared more toward videos that are actually like tutorials. So it's really great for someone who wants to explore. Yeah. And they do have some more advanced techniques as well that they show. But if you really want to get started, those magazine pictures weren't going to help you much. No. So Creative Bug is a huge step up from what we used to have.
I agree.
So we're going to switch back to kids for just a second, because when your late elementary age or middle schooler comes home from school with the dreaded phrase, we have to do a book report or a report on insert topic here, it can be a bit daunting to find reputable articles online. Like I said, the internet is a terrifying place. Lucky for you, the library offers a Galen Context database. And this can be used to easily find information on a myriad of topics. It's got an easy-to-use interface, and the students can independently research topics of interest to them. And you can be confident that the articles will be relevant and age-appropriate.
Now, Gale Courses is also great for adults. They have programs like the ACT, the GRE, Abcmouse, so it's great for test taking and test prep. Now, they also have continuing education. So if you're looking for some basic skills and let's say Microsoft Word or something IT or tech related, they have classes for that. But they also have classes for just general enrichment. So I've taken classes on how to keep your stress level down, food and nutrition, wellness. So it has a little bit of everything, and it's great to kind of like, okay, you want to learn something and you need like a structure behind it. So they're all free to try out. They are a paced course, and it's something that's definitely worth checking out at any age.
And if it's something you're interested in, you want to learn more about, it's a really great resource. Instead of having to pay so much per credit hour at the local college, you can do this at your own time. So you can do this at 8 o'clock at night when everything else is closed, because that's the only time you have, as long as you do it within that day or time frame.
Yeah.
Is it like a week or something they give you?
They have it different. Yeah, they have set up over a few weeks.
And
but it's a great foundation. I mean, it does teach you just the basics, and it is self-paced where you need to have the discipline to want to do your homework and reading. but it's a great way to start to learn something new, especially if you want to change careers in life or just want to be interested in something new.
So if you were looking backwards in time instead of ahead in time, there are several resources at your disposal through the library. Genealogy Connect is a great resource for history research, articles, and even ebooks on topics ranging from the American Revolution to Maryland history, because we're in Maryland, of course, and even British royal lineage, which just was a little random, but I'm okay with it because I am actually casually interested in the royal mess that is the monarchies of Europe, so I found it to be very entertaining. And it's all in ebook format. You just click on it, it'll open it right up in the browser, and you can just read all about it. But it was really fun to see what they had, and they have all types of different, they have like family names, that are like just compendiums of like all the family names within certain ethnicities, and it's really neat. If that's something that like a niche that you're interested in. It is a bit niche, but it's still great, entertaining anyway. There's also some practical resources, not just silly random British lineage. There's also a home improvement collection, and this is just a vast array of tutorials and descriptions on how to do some minor home repair yourself, which can be a huge benefit to the budget.
Yes, it's nice to, in this do-it-yourself age, if you have, someone to kind of guide you on the right way to do it, but they have an auto repair guide too. It's like, when you used to, before the internet, you'd have to go to the library and go to the reference section and pull out those home improvement guides.
Yes.
So basically it's those, but available digitally at any time.
Yeah, at like 2 a.m. when your washer's leaking and you don't know why.
Oh, been there.
It's always at 2 a.m. I know, right? Yeah, when some weird noise starts happening and you're like, what is this? And of course nothing's open. So there are 2 more resources that I like separate from everything else because while they're awesome, they're only available when you're using the library computers or attached to the library Wi-Fi because it goes on their IP address to verify you. The first one we're going to talk about is Ancestry.com. It's not quite the full Ancestry.com, the one that costs $50 or $60 a month, but it's very useful when it comes to mapping out a family tree or working on a history project for school.
Yes, my dad is really into genealogy right now, and I swear that's the only reason why he comes to the library to visit me on the weekend.
It's because,
it's so he can get on the computer and work on his Ancestry.com.
Yeah.
It's a great source. It's an expensive service, so the library can help you with that.
Yeah, like I said, it's not quite... You can't like save your own tree like you can with a paid subscription.
But you print them out.
But you can print it out here at the library and you'll have it. So that's kind of cool. And the other one we have, and this is for the young ones, is Abcmouse. This is a very well-known application. There's lots of there's a lot of commercials everywhere about it. It's geared toward preschool kids, developing reading skills in a fun and engaging way. It's a little mouse that jumps around, lots of little cartoons, and you read stories to them, and they trace letters, and it's just a really great time. Lastly, I'd like to touch on a resource called Niche Academy, again, in the databases and magazines. It's a resource that's available to you, and it's designed to help you make the most of your library card. So this is like our podcast.
With video.
So on Niche Academy, you'll find video tutorials that will walk you step by step through things like Libby, Hoopla, and other library resources, as well as help using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Gmail, and internet safety.
Yeah, so this is a great service because it's like when you would come to the library and go to a librarian and say, here, I need help with this. This is a great service that instead of that one-on-one tutorial kind of thing, you have something that'll walk you through, available right away on demand at any time.
Yeah. There's also video tutorials on Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Publisher, any of those things. So if you're looking to educate yourself on the newest version or a newer version of Microsoft Office, that will be a great way to start out to get those basics. So, and it really comes down to making you more competitive in your field of choice. No matter what you're doing nowadays, everything's on computers. So knowing the basics of these things can only be a benefit. So several of the topics that we've touched on this series have videos that further explain how to make the most of them, like Goodreads. We touched on Goodreads last time, and Beanstack in last time, and Bookflix as well, which is one of the ones we mentioned in this particular podcast. They all have their own videos, and they'll walk you through how to use them, how to make the most of them. We do urge you to check them out because they're really great apps and really great programs. It's just, sometimes you need a little extra help getting to make the most of them. Thanks for joining us on this whirlwind of information. Most of all, this series was intended to shine a light on how much that little rectangle of plastic in your wallet or on your keychain can do. From crafting to home repair to genealogy research or kicking back with a good book or movie, there is a wide world of fascinating things that the library has to offer. Until next time, get out there and explore with your library card. Till next time, this is Vicky
and Amy
signing off. Bye.
Future episodes may feature a variety of topics, ranging from storytelling, arts and crafts, reader's advisory, reference questions, discussion, and more. We also encourage feedback through our Facebook page or in the comments section on the podcast. Visit us online at www.wicomicolibraries.org. Search for Wicomico Libraries on your favorite podcasting site. You can call us at 410-546-5397, or you can email us at center@wicomico.org. That is CENTRE @wicomico.org.